take you back to 1973, when 17 Catholic anti-war activists were each facing more than 40 years in prison. Each one faced 7 different criminal charges. Why? Well, along with 11 others, they had been caught breaking into a federal building in 1971 and destroying draft records. 80 FBI agents caught them in the act and saw them do it. The FBI had an informant who had witnessed the planning of the break-in, and the defendants even admitted to it. Despite that, the defendants argued a conviction would be unjust. They explained the moral convictions that compelled them to interfere with the ongoing conscription of young men to fight, kill, and die in Vietnam. They called witnesses who testified about the Pentagon Papers and other evidence that showed the horrors of the Vietnam War. Famed historian Howard Zinn even testified at the trial. The defendants also highlighted the FBI's conduct throughout the course of the investigation that led to their arrests. The FBI had an informant within the group named Bob Hardy, and they used that informant to help plan, encourage, and carry out the break-in. Bob Hardy was initially just a member of the group who cared about the anti-war cause, but who was uncomfortable with the idea of breaking into a federal building. So he went to talk to the feds. They told him that if he helped them catch the Camden 28, none of them would face jail time. The FBI lied about that. So, using Bob Hardy as an informant, they supplied tools for the break-in. They had him use his skills as a handyman to help the members of the Camden 28 prepare to break into the federal building. They essentially strung them along every step of the way leading up to the crime. And Bob Hardy, frustrated that the FBI had lied to him, testified to this effect. And in the process, he told a story not just of Catholic peace activists committing crimes, but of the FBI's overreach. So Hardy's testimony showed that the FBI had directly enabled the crimes at issue. Moreover, it came to appear that the FBI did this partially to retaliate for a break-in at an FBI office in Media, Pennsylvania, where peace activists had exposed the FBI's COINTELPRO program. COINTELPRO is a program of infiltration, surveillance, and subversion that the FBI had been directing against civil rights activists, anti-war activists, and other dissenters. This was the program under which they tried to infiltrate and break groups like the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. Remember that this was the era when FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover was directing things like the sending of letters to Martin Luther King Jr. to urge him to kill himself. Now, in many courtrooms, this stuff might not be the sort of thing you could bring up, because in many courtrooms, judges do not allow discussion of what's called jury nullification. But in this case, after arguments from defense attorneys, Judge Clarkson Fisher allowed this line of discussion. Indeed, in his closing arguments, the defense attorney, David Carey, specifically mentioned jury nullification. He said that the second reason that the defendants should be acquitted is jury nullification. And he said, quote, "The term nullification, I think, is a bad term. It's used to describe the power of a jury to acquit if they believe that a particular law is oppressive, or if they believe that a law is fair, but to apply it in certain circumstances would be oppressive." The judge also instructed the jurors regarding their right to nullify. The judge told them, quote, "If you find that the overreaching participation by government agents or informers in the activities as you have heard them was so fundamentally unfair to be offensive to the basic standards of decency and shocking to the universal sense of justice, then you may acquit any defendant to whom this defense applies." End quote. The jury, therefore, acquitted all 17 defendants. It appeared that they did find the government's actions fundamentally unfair and shocking to their sense of justice. Shortly after that acquittal, prosecutors dropped all charges against the remaining members of the Camden 28.